Well, guess what finally showed up in my shop? 4 days late, but it showed up. Hey guys, welcome to another shop update. You probably don't know what this is about. My last shop update, before I got into the transmission issues, I had posted a couple of clips of me receiving some stuff from Truck and Tow, chains and ratchet straps, binders, stuff like that. But there was a box missing, so the box finally did show up, and this is it. But then there was another issue with that. I'll get into that. Yeah, that's that third box from Truck and Tow with the binders in. Box looks kind of beat to crap, but I'll open it up, make sure everything's okay. Pretty hard to destroy them, but not saying that UPS couldn't do it. Yeah, so here they are. Again, it would be pretty hard for UPS to destroy these things. They're all here. 4 of them. Okay, guys, like I said, they're only 4 days late. I just don't, again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, my last shop update, really that last one wasn't a shop update. It was more about the G56 transmission in my vehicle and how it got destroyed. But anyways, in there, I told you that I had ordered this stuff from Truck and Tow, and they packed it in 3 boxes and shipped it out. I get a delivery from UPS and it's 2 boxes, and I really didn't think anything of it. They were pretty good sized boxes until I opened it up and said the binders aren't here, the chain binders aren't here. I called them up, and I had looked at the boxes and they were labeled box 1 of 2, or I'm sorry, 1 of 3, 2 of 3, but I got no 3 of 3. I called him up, and the guy says, we shipped them out at the same time. Let me check the tracking. He says, for some reason, they've got the 3rd box being delivered tomorrow. This was on a Wednesday. It's now Saturday. So he said it should have been delivered Thursday. No delivery Thursday, no delivery Friday, and finally it got delivered today, Saturday. Anyways, so much for shipping. Okay, as you can see, I'm out here behind the shop, and I've got the trailer up here. Now, this isn't where I brought the trailer back to when I came back with a broken transmission. Actually, it was parked down there by the railroad berm, kind of behind where the truck is. I just came in this morning, got the tow motor and brought it over here, and what I'm gonna do is soak those bolts on the spring shackles with PB Blaster so that I can see if I can start getting them off. I'm probably gonna be waiting for parts for the better part of next week, and might as well be doing something productive while I'm doing that. So the reason why the truck is parked over there is the guys are going to be lifting a bunch of equipment up into that cell tower on Tuesday. They're bringing in a big crane and going to be lifting it up there. So they've got wanted us to park differently. So it works out for the best. It works out for the best because the trailer's back here and I can work on those spring shackles, and the truck can be parked almost any place. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing for the next couple of days. Again, got that. What I did is I pulled the truck around front and put on those, put the binders and chains up there. Now, there's another issue that I just noticed. I pulled the bags of chains out, and they were supposed to be 2 bags of 2 chains each, and I only got 2 bags of 1 chain each. So yeah, there's that. Is some people were concerned about when I stop, when I slow down, the chains are going to hit the back of the cab. That's not going to happen. As you can see, the binders go down into the basket far enough so that they won't hit it. And the same way with the chain. So, again, I'll let you know when I get this thing out on the road. One of the other things that I did is there was some equipment off of the transmission, off of the PTO outlets, and one of the ports was open. And so I crawled under there. I'll take you in and show you what was bolted up to it, but I crawled under there just so that I could get a measurement. I don't want to leave that port open in case oil comes out of the transmission out through that port. You see the port right there that's open? I just took, it almost looked like two parts of a U-joint clamp that was attached to it, but I'll show it to you when I go back in. What I'm going to do is make a plate with a gasket or gasket material on it and put these parts back on over it, just so nothing gets in there, no oil will leak out of it. But anyways, I'll bring you back when I take you in. Here are those parts that I was talking about that I took off that transmission. Yeah, I'm not sure what was held on to it. But what I'm going to do is make a plate and that'll go around this or under it, and just bolt it back in there again. Maybe with a gasket or some silicone gasket material. This is a pick set. Well, it's called, I think it's called a body molding removal set from Mac Tool. They had it on sale like a month ago or so in one of their flyers. The reason why I picked it up is they're wedge shape tools. Yeah, let me get it out of here first. Wedge shaped tools, and I will be using it to extract that mold, help extract that mold out of the carbon fiber. I mean, probably use it for other things too if I ever took body panels or moldings and stuff like that off of body panels. But that's the reason I got it. It was fairly cheap, and saving me the time of trying to figure out where to buy plastic wedge-shaped tools to demold things for like the carbon fiber. It was pretty evident that I could use this, so that's why I got it. Okay, I'm out here in the trailer, and what I've done is pulled the first plate off, and I'm gonna put this plate, the one that I had welded up so that I could get a shock absorber onto it. Put that on. Okay, I'm not sure what it is, but the U-bolts have spread out. They've either spread out or they've got some way in the factory that they compress them so that they can get this in there, like some kind of a jig where they've got this thing in there. It's such a bitch to try and get it up there, so what I'm doing is trying to put them in the vise and squeeze them back together so that they fit beforehand. I got to tell you, it's hard though, because I don't want to overdo it and then have to bend them back out again. I just want to take them in enough that they fit. But it's a big trial and error process. Okay, so there is the first U-bolt bracket on. That shock isn't installed. It's just sitting there. What I've got to do is get under and check the height of it to figure out what kind of angle iron support at the top I need. When I say figure out, the distance down so that I can pin the top so that it's the midpoint of its travel distance, the shock's travel distance. So I'm going to set it under normal, just trailer weight at midpoint of the travel distance. But anyways, there's the bracket is on. I ended up just taking them into the vise and trying to squeeze them. As you can see, I had some things. I got a clamp, I got a big pair of Nipex pliers and tried to squeeze it under here, and it just couldn't do it. Couldn't hold it and squeeze it at the same time. So I took the U-bolts into the vise and pinched them together, gauged them with the old one, the old plate that came off of there, and then brought them back out here and installed it on the new plate. But anyways, there it is. Okay, so here is a bracket that I've designed to go up and put up underneath the rails of the trailer for the shock absorber. Now what I did is took a piece of 3-inch angle iron. The hole had to be 2 inches down from the top to get that center point of the shock. A throw. Let's call it throw, because I can't think of the word that I'm trying to think of. It had to be 2 inches down. So what I did is welded a 3/4 inch nut so the 5/8 bolt can go through it, and attach to the shock, the top of the top shock bracket. Go through there. This will go up against the bottom of those cross member supports on the bottom of the trailer. There will be 2 bolts in each one. So this is just a test piece to make sure it works, and it's going to be strong enough for it to hold any weight of that shock. So anyways, there it is. I just painted it so I can't move it around for you. I did not paint it with Rust-Oleum. But anyways, that will be another subject. Okay, so here is the first shock on. I've still got to tighten some bolts up and stuff like that, but it's on. I just wanted to kind of test fit it to see if that bracket up there worked okay, and it does. It works fine. Drilling the steel, the cross members out of this trailer, is pretty thick, and it's kind of a bitch. You can't get lubricant up there because you're drilling upside down to begin with. Probably going to have to go out and get some more cobalt drill bits to complete the rest of them. Anyways, there it is. And I'm back out here to the trailer. Yesterday, I have no idea where those stones came from. Anyways, yesterday I was out here doing, put that other one on there. Now, it rained last night, and when I say that other one, the other shock on the front axle. Originally, I had put the passenger side front axle shock on. Yesterday, I put the driver's side front axle shock on. But I didn't film any of it. I just kind of brought you out here to let you know that I had done it. And you'll see it after everything is completed. But one of the things that I kind of wanted to show you is that they're doing work on the cell tower. If you can see, the guys are up on top of that up on top of the tower up there, and they've got a huge crane up there, going to be taking stuff off probably and putting some new equipment. You can see that new equipment over there. I turned that off and started it again because the gimbal gave out. I had to replace the batteries on the gimbal. As you can see, the guys are up there working on the cell tower. We had to move a lot of vehicles so that they could get it. I put my truck back there, and that's the reason I put my truck back there, kind of reason I brought the trailer back here. It was an opportune time because of what's going on with the truck and the transmission to come out and work on these shocks to see if that will help solve that bounce problem with the trailer. But yeah, big crane. I think it's approximately 200 feet to the top of that tower, so they got a big crane in here and they're going to be installing some new equipment on the top of that tower. Okay, I got you back under the trailer here, and this is in real time. So here's that second shock that I told you that I had gotten on. Put that one on first and then put this one on. Now I haven't gotten to the rear axle yet because the weather has changed to begin with. When I had done these originally, it was a nice warm day for this area in March. It was up in the 50s, so weather changed. It got colder, started raining, and I wasn't out here. I had a haul to make, so I'm going to put all of these clips together, and then the material stuff for the G56 transmission rebuild or reinstall new transmission into the Ram 2018 Ram in one segment towards the end of this, right after this actually. But I'll bring. I'm back here in the shop right after I shot that clip of the underneath the trailer and showing you those two shocks installed on the front axle of that trailer. I'm not sure. You know, getting the Ram back together is a priority for me. It's my daily driver as well as a haul truck, so that is a priority. Now I have a bunch of hauls that I have to make, so I'm not sure that I'm going to have time after getting the truck back together to get the other two shocks installed on that. So the first test drive might be with only two shocks on the front axle, not the complete shock installation of the trailer, because again, I have hauls that I have to make. But let's proceed on, and we're going to start getting into G56 parts that I'm receiving and what's going on with that. You know, my last shop update, I was kind of bitching about UPS and the chain thing. The boxes, the 3 boxes, and they split the boxes up and deliver 2 of them one day, and then the other one, the third box, they didn't deliver for 2 days after that, and they were all shipped at the same time. But I've got to tell you, I ordered something from Summit Racing, and now it's only in Ohio and I'm in New York, but again, I ordered it on Friday. It was a throw-up bearing. I ordered it on Friday and got it on Monday. So, you know, I've got to take back a little bit about what I said about UPS. You know, I mean, they came through with that. But anyways, just to kind of let you know, I did get that throw-up bearing. I'm still waiting on the transmission, of course. I don't expect that until Friday. This is Tuesday. I don't expect that Friday, and possibly it won't even come in until Monday. That's what he said. And then I'm looking for those 2 cooler ports that go on the side of the PTO outlets on the transmission and the temperature gauge. The cooler ports are coming from Georgia, I think they're coming from, and the gauge is coming, the temperature gauge for the transmission is coming from Thoroughbred Diesel, which is in Kentucky. But anyways, I'll bring you back. Well done, UPS. So it's still midweek, and I got another thing yesterday afternoon from UPS. It was from South Bend Clutch. Now they sent me this tool, this alignment tool for the clutch plates. I didn't even ask for it, But here is the pilot bearing that goes into the flywheel, and here are those tabs that space that clutch, this center clutch plate out. But anyways, so there is all of the stuff for the clutch, throw-out bearing, pilot bearing, those tabs. So I can get that back together and get it prepared to go back onto the truck. Now, again, it's only Wednesday now, so I've still got probably possibly 2 more days before I get the transmission. But then again, like I said, like the guy told me, there's a possibility it won't be in until the following Monday, though. But anyways, it's starting to come together. One of the things that I showed you in the last clip is that I received the pilot bearing and some stuff from South Bend Clutch. What I'm going to do is I've got the flywheel over here. I've started to clean it up. There was a bunch of debris and where the pilot bearing goes. I've started to clean it up, and I'm going to be replacing the pilot bearing and the flywheel, cleaning this flywheel up, and probably getting that back onto the truck so that the clutch can be reinstalled onto it before we get the transmission and start dealing with that. This can be done prior to that. Okay, so this is a flywheel, a South Bend flywheel, and it's off of a 2018 Ram. And I've got to replace, the transmission failed on that, and I'm going to be replacing the pilot bearing that's in the flywheel. I'm reusing my South Bend clutch, and just going to be replacing the pilot bearing, throw-out bearing, stuff like that on it. But as you can see, there's a snap ring in here that holds it. And I'll take that out, and then I'll probably pop the clutch out from the other side, but I'll bring you back when I do that. So what I did is flip the flywheel over and got a socket that was would just fit in the hole, and apparently the bearing is stuck to it. I drove it out that way. Yeah, kind of stuck on the socket. But anyways, what I'll do is I'll clean this up and get the new bearing in there. I'll bring you back when I do. So what I've got is a different size socket that fits more of the outside race of the bearing, and I will just pound it down in there. And that's it. What I'll do is I'll clean this flywheel up. I'm just going to take a Scotch-Brite pad, clean this surface off, clean it, all the debris and dirt off of it too before I put it back on. Okay, so I had to make a rundown of to King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, and apparently while I was gone, they delivered a bunch of stuff. The first box, this big box, the little box was in, it's from Gino's Garage, and I didn't realize this place was this big. You know, they've got the whole catalog, and but what it is the oil cooler. Oh, these things are yeah. These things are really heavy aluminum. So it's got fins inside and then fins outside. This is that oil hole for the temperature gauge. And speaking of that, really real gaskets too. It's hard to find any gaskets anymore. They always sell you stuff and it's got no gasket because they think everybody uses that I call it forma gasket, but those things are really nice. Okay, so the second box, and it should be the gauge itself. So let me flip it or slit it open, and I'll bring you back when I'm there. Okay. I hate these peanut things. They get it all over the place. They're like got static electricity on them and cling to everything. They're clinging to the plastic box right now. See? Let me pull this one apart and I'll bring it back and show it to you. Okay, so here is a pickup here. Wire, plug wire, fuse element, the gauge itself, and then I don't know what this is. It's like foam rubber. I've got to read the directions. Yeah, let me read the directions. Oh, temperature sensor mount. Maybe you were supposed to wrap that around it to keep outside temperatures from interfering with the accurate reading on it. But let me bring you back. I just brought you under here to show you that I put the flywheel back on. I torch it down with the torque wrench. Now I use the chrome socket on it because 1/2 inch torque wrench, and the 1/2 inch chrome socket is the only one that will fit into these recessed areas for the flywheel. Now on the when I installed the flywheel, I used the impact on it, but the 3/8 impact, and that 3/8 drive impact socket will fit in that slot or that recessed area of the flywheel, but a 1/2 inch impact socket won't. So that's why I use a chrome Loctite too on the flywheel bolt. Just a little shot under the truck. So the flywheel is back on and torqued, and the clutch is back on and torqued also. All I'm waiting on now is the transmission so that I can get that back in here again. Now there's some other things I got to do. Again, I've got that temperature gauge. I've got to wire it up into the pod, the pillar pod that I have in the truck. I'm going to take one of the gauges out probably the temperature gauge, because that temperature gauge was a mechanical gauge, and I didn't know that when I ordered it, and the lead for it isn't long enough to plug in. So I'm gonna pull that one out because it's not being used. So pull that one out, put the oil temp or the transmission temperature gauge in. Okay guys, Friday afternoon, probably around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and guess what just showed up? Yep. Now this is the way that I got it when it came in on the skid. A weird friggin' truck driver. Weird. I'll explain that some other time, but just one of them weird people. This is the way I got it. Now, it's kind of offset on the skid. It actually looks to me from the markings and stuff that it was actually sitting upright and it flopped over in the binding. So what I'm going to do, I'll set up a camera. I'll videotape it off of a tripod. I'm going to turn it over just to make sure there's no damage to it, but it looks really good. Set you up over on this side, because if this transmission did roll over like I suspected it did, it's laying on its side. There was slack in these things, so if it rolled over on its side, it would be the underside that it rolled to. Yeah, looks fine to me. Rolling over like that within the constraints of the banding, it probably isn't going to hurt anything. I mean, there's some scratches, a little bit of scratches in the paint on the thing, but you know, there's no definite blows or anything to it. I doubt it very seriously if it affected anything. But anyways, I'll bring you back. Yeah, again, so this is a handheld camera where I get you up closer, and you know, there's some rubbing marks where it rubbed on the skid, some scratches and stuff like that, but when it turned over inside the banding, it really didn't do anything to it. One of the things that I did is, I think that's a neutral engagement pin thing, so that there, you know, when the truck's in neutral. I just took that bolt out of the old transmission and put it in there. Yeah. Cool. Now, again, today is late Friday afternoon. There's something going on with my grandson, so he's probably not going to be able to get into the shop to give me a hand getting this back in until Sunday. So, but there's some other things that I want to get done before then. So, it probably is not going to make it into this shop update video, but I will do a detailed video of putting the thing back in again, and maybe post that as a separate video. But I'll bring you back.